Did you know that there is a perfectly logical explanation on why Erza is perfectly fine with taking baths with Natsu and Gray? Through the run of Fairytail, Erza was shown to be perfectly fine with taking baths with Natsu and Gray. She was perfectly fine with being seen naked by them, compared to all the other female characters like Lucy, who gets embarrassed when seen naked. She was also shown to be fine inviting them over to take baths with all the other girls. Of course, one would think this is just Erza being Erza, it is one of her quirks. The author wanted to show Erza as someone who is mostly shameless when it comes to her body. But this isn't exactly the truth. Even though Erza was indeed shown to have no problem showing her body off, as many of her armors are quite revealing, the real reason why Erza is fine with taking baths with friends of opposite gender might be quite sad. When Erza was born, she was left in a small village by Irene. We don't know much about who raised Erza between the time period she was in the village and her enslavement, but it is safe to assume that she might have been took in by a church or an orphanage. Meaning, in the first few years of her life, she probably grew up around large groups of kids. And since medieval orphanages didn't have the luxury of separate rooms and beds, these kids probably battered and slept together, cramped into as small of a space as possible, meaning it was natural for her to bed together with others, regardless if they were girls or boys. Of course, this isn't the only reason, it gets more emotional. When Erza got enslaved with many other kids, they were further cramped into small cells, regardless if they were men or women. During her enslavement years, Erza was constantly around men and women. They ate together, they slept together, and they probably took baths together when they had the chance to. Erza spent a large chunk of her childhood without privacy. This made her develop a lack of shame towards showing her body to people she considered friends. It was natural for her to take baths with boys and friends as she grew up that way. And since there is no one to correct her as Gray and Natsu were afraid of her, this habit stuck with her. Of course, this is often played off as just Erza being Erza, but when you start thinking about it, it starts to make way too much sense. This is probably also the reason why Sorano is constantly in a bikini as well, since she was also enslaved. So the same way Erza developed a lack of shame because of no privacy, so did Sorano. Erza spent most of her early life in pretty terrible conditions with lack of privacy. Because of this, for her it is perfectly fine and natural to bat with friends, even if said friends are men. Of course, this is just my theory. Even if Mashima often plays it off as just Erza being Erza, I think it makes quite a sense when you start thinking about it. Who knows, maybe Mashima actually did this on purpose to show how specific factors and events can affect someone's life and personality. But what do you think? Please let me know in the comment section below. This was Space G, don't forget to subscribe and see you guys in space. Bye!